Let me set the scene for you. It's my second year living in Greenville, North Carolina, home of Mr. Beast and Company. I'm living out my childhood dream of being a YouTuber, surrounded by some of the biggest names on the internet. I'm finally starting to get used to the insane life that I've fallen into. Everything is perfect, and I lived happily ever after, the end. Right. So now what? 3 years ago, I started to blow up on the internet, completely overwhelmed and blissfully unaware of all that I was getting myself into. I started living through insane life-changing experiences back to back to back, just pretending like I knew what I was doing or where I was going. Until suddenly, I blinked, and now Mr. Beast is like my neighbor. Yeah, so basically after high school, I was invited to move to Mr. Beast land just to kind of hang out with everyone while I do my own thing. And if you're confused, don't worry, I don't get it either. So please don't ask questions and just go with it for the sake of the story. Okay? Okay? Ever since I was a kid, all I've wanted to do is create things online for a living. And it really felt like I had made it, you know, like I was in the perfect place to achieve the life I've always dreamed of. But then, like an unnecessary transitional effect in a Mr. Beast video, everything blew up in my face. The rose-tinted lenses that I was given by people I look up to were suddenly removed, and the reality of what I was surrounded by became impossible to ignore. All of these problems felt so much bigger than me, and they were. I mean, they're not my problems to fix. I'm not the evil YouTube millionaire in charge here, but still, everything about my life was completely turned upside down by this news. Behind me is a guy that misses the way things were before he knew the full truth about the people he looked up to the most. And in this video, he's gonna be going up against a multi-million-dollar digital empire. And if he fails, so does his career. Each day, the problems found ways to get worse. All that felt too good to be true about my life had actually turned out to be just that. I felt lonely, afraid, uninspired, unmotivated, as well as countless other undesirable adjectives, with no idea how I was gonna get myself out of all of this, let alone where I could even go next. All I knew is that it was time for another one of those life-changing experiences that I just can't seem to stay away from. In order to gain perspective and inspiration and hopefully come up with some sort of an escape plan, I needed to get away from the dystopian nightmare that my life in North Carolina had become. So I flew to Texas to crash on my friend Jazzy's couch for the weekend. I had such an amazing time and was able to free my mind enough to find an idea that will change everything about my life. Again. Thank you all so much for being here, really. I know that there's a lot on the line, but I just want to say that I am so excited to share this idea with you guys and just finally be able to show you guys what I've been working on. So without further ado, the idea that I think is gonna change everything for us and hopefully save us is a podcast where, okay, someone's already leaving. How did you get to the door so fast, sneaky? No, sit back down. Don't walk out. Please don't walk out that door. Please don't walk out. It's not like other podcasts, I swear. You didn't let me finish. You didn't let me finish. So, like I was saying, it's a podcast, but I'm gonna be traveling around the world, crashing on people's couches, and then getting kind of an up-close personal look into their lives, and then recording a conversation on the very couch that they're letting me sleep on, and then using what I know about their lives to kind of dig deeper into, you know, the curiosities of me, the guest, and of course, the viewer. Are you guys getting it? I feel like you're not getting it yet. So you're just taking advantage of your friends by asking to stay with them free of charge, promising in return to give them a guest spot on your podcast, which is undeniably more beneficial for you than it is them, all while traveling the world without having to pay for a single place to stay, so you can look for a place to move once your lease is up in North Carolina. Yes! Yes! So you do get it. Okay, great. Yes, and it's called, wait for it. Okay, actually, maybe keep waiting, because I think I left a few blank slides in there, so. Couch surfing! Okay. Thanks. Now that I had my idea, it was time to bring it to life. but there was still a huge problem standing in my way. One that I'm sure often gets in your way when you want to make some sort of change in your life. I had no idea how to get motivated, how to feel inspired, or even where to start. And it definitely doesn't help that my home base has this evil, scary, depressing, intimidating kind of vibe to it now. I decided to start by taking the podcast cover photo, hoping that looking at it would make me feel excited to start and hopeful about the project's outcome. Two things I was really struggling to feel. I think that starting by just taking the photo was kind of like when you write down some kind of goal or revelation at 3 a.m., hoping that when you read it back in the morning, it'll miraculously give you the motivation and direction that you need to completely change your life. You know, the kind of half commitment to change that keeps you feeling productive without actually having to trust yourself enough to completely dive in. But the adventure that getting this photo ended up taking me on had me diving into this project headfirst, whether I was ready to or not. I had a vision in mind for the photo that Jazzy had agreed to help me bring to life. Okay, basically it's me on a couch, but the couch is on water.
Oh, like couch surfing.
After 3 days of constantly monitoring and endlessly refreshing the search results for red couch on Facebook Marketplace, I was running out of time to find something cheap that would work. But that's when I found it. Comfy red love seat. Cheap, red, small, and seemingly lightweight. It was perfect. I mean, I had really lucked out. But had I used all my luck on finding the couch? I had secured the couch and formed a plan for the day ahead. Step 1, rent a pickup truck from U-Haul to carry the couch. Step 2, pick up the couch and load it into the truck. Step 3, carry the couch to shallow water. Step 4, take pictures. And step 5, couch surf. Seems like a good plan, right? Nice and simple and achievable. Right, thanks so much. That's what I thought too. Believe it or not, starting our day at 3 p.m. was actually not a part of the plan. Neither was renting a giant box truck that could flatten a happy, beautiful family in a single instant. But somehow, getting this one truck that was 2 times the size we needed ended up taking 3 times longer than we thought it would. So, 4 hours of U-Haul customer support later, we were left with a giant box truck and 5 hours of daylight.
Oh, you're so sexy. Oh, sorry, we're vlogging.
Dude, get the camera. Why are you sniffing?
It smells like urine.
Hey.
Oh, I didn't.
This is my car.
You're allowed to do whatever you want.
We're going to pick up a couch. I'm gonna drive the biggest car that they've ever made. Yes, so far.
I'm so excited. I hope we stay safe.
For the photo, I needed shallow water, preferably a shore that we wouldn't have to carry the couch too far to get to. But also, it's just a 2-person love seat, and we're 2 people, so how hard could carrying it really be?
It's slipping.
So it turns out the couch is actually magnetic and the earth is full of metal.
It's okay, it's okay.
Because that's the only possible explanation for why a couch this big is this heavy.
This couch smells so bad.
Just carrying it across the street to the U-Haul was enough to leave us exhausted.
I'm winded.
And I started to fear my workout plan wasn't the only plan failing us. We had no idea how we were going to carry this couch any further than we just had, but we were already losing daylight, so we didn't really have time to rethink things, or think at all, really. I still had no idea what the spot Jazzy had in mind was like, or the absurd amount of money I'd spent on the U-Haul rental so far, so I decided to not give up hope. Here's where things really start to get intense. Jazzy had a spot in mind of where to take this photo, so we drove an hour to a park, and we must have accidentally time traveled 20 years backward or something, because when we got there, they told us they only accepted cash payments for admission, $5 each. Paper cash? I thought that was something that only existed in movies. They told us there was a 7-Eleven with an ATM about 10 minutes away, but with sunset approaching and a photo to take that I had convinced myself my career success was riding on, this wasn't really time we had to lose. Luckily, we had seen a sign for an ATM just a minute up the road. We stop here to get cash, but before I click withdrawal, I hear a voice from behind the machine. A man saying, "Hey, welcome in." And that's when I realized that this ATM is conveniently placed just outside the fence of another park. I explained to this guy, who thinks we're about to enter his park, that we're just here to get cash for the park down the road. And he lets us know his park takes card admission, but that it's $10 each. I try to save money and politely decline the offer by explaining our situation to him. The rocky shore we need, the couch we have to carry, the photo we're gonna take, but he hits me with an offer I can't refuse. Not only do they have a rocky shore, but they'll let us use one of their golf carts to help transport the couch there. We're saved. I ask if we can check out the location first to be sure it'll work, but he says not without paying, which I guess I understand, but in retrospect, I'm a bit mad I didn't see where this was going. The rocky shore he was referring to ended up being more like a rocky cliff, one that wouldn't work for the photo. Also, the middle-aged man that swindled us ended up taking my number when he heard I'm making a podcast, because he apparently needs help setting one up himself. So, really a lose-lose here. Okay, so back to plan A. All right, I go back to the ATM and get a $20 bill. Do you see the $20 bill that I made? Isn't that cute? The little version of me in the, oh, I think I'm actually going insane. I drive back to the first park, pay the $10, and then start mentally preparing for the labor that I know I'm not physically prepared for.
Yeah, I think this is good. The question is, can we carry a couch out here? It'll be easy. That'll be so easy.
This shore was far from the parking lot, okay? Further than Jazzy had remembered it.
It's gonna be easy to carry a couch out here.
And I think the reality was really starting to set in that in order to take this photo before sunset, for all of the time and money to be worth it, and for me to not start off this new ambitious chapter of my life with a complete failure, we'd need some kind of miracle. And boy, oh boy, did we get one. Let me introduce you to this guy. A man so heroic and iconic, he never even gave his name. You see, once we were ready to carry the couch, Jazzy saw this guy climbing onto his motorcycle to leave. She asked me if we should catch him before he goes and ask for help. And honestly, I'm usually super uncomfortable when it comes to inconveniencing others, or I guess just asking for help in general. But the sun was going down and I didn't see the couch getting to the water any other way. I remembered the $10 in cash we had left over from the ATM, so we offered it to this guy in exchange for some help moving the couch. He let us know he was already running late for work, so I told him to go to work and not worry about it. But this guy was still worried about it. He looks at me and says, "Can you jog?" And I was like, without a couch in my hands, yeah, but while carrying a couch, I don't think that I can really—
Well, we're about to find out.
I really don't know how to describe this moment to you and do this feeling that we shared justice. Maybe it's insane, but I've seriously never felt adrenaline like this before.
You got it. You got it. Oh, God.
The three of us ran with this couch the best we could across this rocky shore.
Come on, Jazzy. Come on. He has to go to work, Jazzy. I'm going to work.
The couch blocking our views of where we were stepping. But no matter how much we tripped or dropped the couch, we still just continued running, trying to catch our breath while laughing hysterically and cheering each other on. It was completely ridiculous and so much fun and absolutely not worth $10. When we got the couch as far as we could, I don't think any of us had been that exhausted in our lives. As Jazzy went to get the $10, I gave this guy my Instagram because he wanted to see the final product. And apparently that's all he cared about because he made his dramatic exit before we could even pay him.
Thank you, mysterious man. Sir. No! Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hey, did you see any of that? Could you see any of that? I don't care, shut up. There he goes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you!
We never even got his name!
Thank you so much. Can you see the couch all the way? All the way out there. Be honest, would you click on a podcast if the podcaster looked like this? Oh. I came to the U-Haul to dry off my hair with the AC unit. Hey you guys, quick question. Why does no one talk about how being an influencer is the hardest job in the world? Hey, so quick little question. Why does no one really ever talk about how being an influencer is one of the most challenging things that anyone could do for this country?
Okay. Now, I know what you're thinking. How are you guys gonna get the couch back into the truck? Now, that's a good question, which I have definitely thought of an answer for, but would you look at that? The sun is actively setting, and there's just unfortunately no time to talk about that right now. Sorry. Literally right when we started taking pictures, a park ranger let us know that the park was closing soon.
I lock the gates in 15 minutes.
Okay. I don't know what she said.
We only really had about 15 minutes to take pictures before taking the walk of shame over to the park ranger camped out by our U-Haul.
I hope you like them.
I'm excited.
We were so exhausted, hungry, and of course ashamed of the world's largest piece of litter to ever be littered in a park. But hey, we got our photo. I pleaded my case to the park ranger, and she agreed to let me pick it up at 8 a.m. when the park opens the next day. But I already knew that after the day Jazzy and I had, we were not waking up in AM territory. So I drew a treasure map and gave it to some local movers to take care of it for us, and got prepared for the final step in my plan. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned how I was struggling to stay inspired and find motivation. Now, I'm far from having it all figured out, but I can tell you what I've learned so far. Whatever you do, don't become friends with Mr. Beast, okay? Because he will crush your dreams, and he'll ruin your spirit, and he'll take everything about what you love to do and make it seem greedy and manipulative and corrupt and soulless until suddenly all that's left of you is a product, okay? You'll start to feel less like a human being and more like a product. Just another cog in the machine, just another item on the shelves. Okay, can we cut the last noise I made? That's like kind of disgusting, right? Also, there's like something on... Oh my gosh. Would you look at that? I've started to grow a price tag! You know, I used to be so full of youth and optimism and creativity, and Mr. Beast took all of that from me, and he drove it off a cliff in a Cybertruck! Or like $1 million car or something. You know, sometimes when it gets really bad, I just like to close my eyes and imagine a world where everyone gets what they truly want. You know, like Mr. Beast coming home to his sweet, sweet husband, Elon Musk. Elon pulls him close by his hips. "You really think you can tame the beast?" Jimmy says. Elon blushes. "Oh, Jimmy, if we ever broke up, you'd be the only ex I care about." Okay, so that's definitely gonna get me in trouble if I let it play out any longer, but I changed my shirt, so hopefully that's ample damage control. Cool. Okay, what was I even? Oh, motivation and inspiration and stuff, right, okay. I don't think it matters where you start, but more so how you start. It's okay to start small, as long as you're still fully committed to what you set out to do and why you set out to do it. If you're only half invested in what you're doing, it's really easy to back out or get discouraged the moment something inevitably goes wrong. These roadblocks are opportunities to improvise and take risks. Although it's maybe cliche, it's true that the unexpected keeps things exciting and interesting, and leaves you with stories that make you appreciate the process and the adventure, regardless of the end result. I crashed at my friend Anthpo's place in New York and learned an important lesson from an event he put on while I was there, which was a man eating an entire jar of pickles in the park, of course. As I was surrounded by thousands of people chanting and cheering for a masked man drinking pickle juice, I couldn't help but feel weirdly inspired. Although creating things can be a solo process and feel really isolating, I've realized that inspiration is pretty much impossible without connection. I guess that's why New York is such an inspiring place to be. You're constantly surrounded by connection, and you can't help but be a part of it. Taking chances and putting myself out there, even when I was completely terrified, led to connections I could have never expected. Ones that left me excited and inspired to keep going, to keep finding people to share this feeling with. I think my challenge with finding motivation is how much bigger than me the things in my head can feel. As I wait to miraculously feel motivated, I build the idea up bigger and bigger in my head, until suddenly I'm staring at the peak of an imaginary mountain, too intimidated to even take a first step. I remember one night I was with Anthpo, looking at the New York City skyline, just completely in awe of how big the buildings are. Anthpo mentioned how insane it is that humans used to build entire cities, and now we just make silly little videos. And that really helped put things into perspective for me. Too often, I find myself putting the things that I want, the things that are mine, up on a pedestal that I can't reach, when in reality, they're so much more attainable than I've made them out to be. I look at my goals as if they're these huge skyscrapers I have to build, rather than achievable things I actually want to do, things that only I can do. It seems like we all have a way of getting in our own way sometimes, but I'm learning that by just being yourself and taking chances, you'll find the people and the places that truly make you excited to do what you're excited to do. And I can't wait to see what new people and places this next chapter of my life will lead me to. The first ever episode of Couch Surfing is out right now, so check it out if you want to hear me finally talk about how I ended up in Mr. Beast Land and the surreal experience that living here has been. Give it a listen by clicking the link in the description, or just search Couch Surfing with Koi wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.